Do you know what the Akashic records are? Great. But do you know what the MNEMOSYNE records are? If not, I'm going to share a spiritual gift that I found inside of my client's Akashic records in case it unlocks and activates something for you as well. When I went to his energy field, I saw a white picket fence and there was a squirrel that was running on the top of it. Squirrels are representative of storing and collecting. The white picket fence was representative of a wall of information. I heard this voice say, I need more storage. And then I was taken to what I thought was a library. It was a little fuzzy at first. I met with a different incarnation of my client. He said, are you here to help me? And I said, sure. I said, what do you need? He said, I need more storage. I said, okay. He said, come with me. So we start walking. I am taken inside of this massive library. I said, oh, are we in the Akashic records? Now the Akashic records are represented sometimes by a library or by books. That's dependent on the perceiver. It can be a million different things, but I thought that that's how he was perceiving it. But as I was looking around, I said, oh, I know where we're at. We are in the MNEMOSYNE Library. I've only been there twice, conscientiously. Maybe I've been there in other astral travels. But when people think of the Akashic Records, they think that that is the totality of collected information throughout the ethers, through all time and space. Kind of. The Akashic Records are a wing or a section of a bigger library. They're actually held within the MNEMOSYNE Library, but then there's the MNEMOSYNE Library is held within other things. Okay, so the Akashic Records has the information that is available to the collective consciousness, not just of Earth, but other collective consciousness to a certain extent. And then when we raise above that as a collective, whether it's in our society or societies out in the ether and the cosmos, you can start to access different wings of the bigger libraries. The MNEMOSYNE Library has information that is not in the Akashic Records. Well, I guess it would technically because the Akashic Records is in it, but it has things that are expanded outside of it. MNEMOSYNE in Greek mythology is the goddess of memory. She is the daughter of Uranus and Gaia. I think it's Uranus, but he's the father of the sky, and Gaia is the mother of the earth. That's their daughter, and she ended up giving birth with Zeus to the 9 muses. So if you're interested in learning more about MNEMOSYNE, I would definitely do some research because it might help you unlock more of this as well. You spell it MNEMOSYNE. I was asking this different incarnation what he needed more storage for, and he said that there was some library wings that had outdated information that the collective didn't need any longer, and each of the library wings has a certain bandwidth of consciousness, and so they kind of get full almost. And in order for it to expand, it needs to release certain information. I said, well, what do you want me to do? He said, I need you to help me find more storage space. And I said, okay, can I counsel with my higher self? So I brought her in and I put all of the information on a flash disk like we would have here on Earth. I said, am I supposed to delete this? And she said, you can't delete energy. You can either transmute it or turn it into something else, but you can't just delete it. And I said, okay, what if we utilize this and alchemize it to fuel something else? And she was like, yeah, you could do that. And so I called my client's energy body in and I handed it to him, this flash drive, and I said that he could use it to fuel something. And he said, well, can I just keep it for later? I said, sure. However, because it was the MNEMOSYNE property, if you will, he was going to have to ask that other incarnation whenever he decided to use it. That wasn't for me to perceive in his soul contract what that was going to be for, but it was something in this incarnation that he needed to have extra energy to produce or manufacture or astral travel somewhere, maybe, I'm not sure. But I said, as long as this different incarnation gives you the go-ahead, then yeah, you can do that. I was telling my client that he is a guardian of the MNEMOSYNE Library in this other incarnation, and he could learn how to channel directly from him and receive information that is new and fresh because it is outside of the Akashic records. Then I went to a different section of his energy field and I heard this voice calling me, and he said, you're in the valley. When I asked where I was, I said, the valley of what? He said, the valley of the shadow of death. And I was like, what? He said, no, I'm just kidding. And I was like, okay, thank goodness. So he said, this is where we come to communicate. And I said, who? And I looked over and I saw a lot of beings that were kind of sitting in this circle. You can envision almost like when philosophers in history would come together to have different envisionings of the world. So what are you discussing? He said, well, right now, produce consumption on the different planets that we're from. And I said, oh, are you like representatives? And I showed him our political system on Earth. And he said, no, not like that. He said, we're more like community leaders, because he read the energetics of our political system. He was like, don't compare us to them. It was very funny. Then I was saying, hey, I'm here for my client to figure out what his spiritual gifts are, or one of them at least. And he said that his gift is accessing information and transcribing. So bringing new information into the collective consciousness, because he is able to access these different dimensional planes. And well, how is he going to do that? Like give the information out? One, learning how to channel these different incarnations of himself and other type of beings. But he said scrolls or tablets, and what he meant by that was books or blogs, like writing them, or however he wanted to share information. But what was really funny is I was perceiving him saying scrolls or tablets because of my mind, but when I said that to him, he said, we don't live in the dark ages. And he showed me all of this really advanced technology. He was like, look at this. I said, oh, my bad. He said that they don't read like we do. It's more of an energetic transfer and a download in, like you just stand next to somebody, you're able to transfer it, or from this advanced technology that they have. Asked what my client needed to do in order to better understand the information. He said one's mind must be clear to receive. So that's what we kind of harken back to when we talk about meditation and learning how to get into trance channeling. PTSD, trauma, unprocessed emotions, limiting beliefs, fear, anxiety all cloud your mind. And so the more that you shed that, the more you're able to see with more clarity, or understand with more clarity. He said that he wanted my client to meet him at what we would call a restaurant on the planet Saxon, which I don't have any information about that. That's the first time me hearing it. Maybe you've been there before or have heard of it. It's probably not in the collective consciousness, but so Saxon. Then he handed me this metal bar and told me to tell him to put it behind his ear, either ear. It would kind of be like a hearing device or a hearing aid that we would wear here on Earth, but it was a transmitter, which is going to help him better hear, not only him, but also that other incarnation that works in the MNEMOSYNE Library, or other type of cosmic beings out there in the ethers, to understand the vibrations and frequencies that are being sent to him, but also to understand the different languages in which he is being spoken to. Anyone can access the MNEMOSYNE Library. Obviously, you got to be on like a certain consciousness level and vibration and frequency to do that. It's easier to start with the Akashic Records. That's how I did it, because there's way more information about them in the collective consciousness. But it is open and available for whomever wants to go and visit. So I would love to hear if this unlocked and activated something for you. And I hope you have a super magical day.